Over the years, you've heard me ask wealth manager Warren Ingram the big questions. How do we invest wisely? How do we protect our family's future? All those conversations, that entire library of financial expertise is now available as a podcast. Straightforward advice to help you build your wealth on demand. Just search for Warren Ingram's Personal Finance wherever you get your podcasts.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Great to have you with us here on 702. I trust you will have a wonderful, wonderful day. Vandag 011-883-0702. That's the number to dial on the 702 open line. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. You're welcome to also send us your comments on the 702 YouTube page. If you are one of those that are watching and listening to us at the same time right now, then you can just post your comments there on the 702 YouTube page, and I will read them as well on the 702 open line. Remember, very easy. If you want to watch what's happening in studio right now, you just go to the 702 YouTube page. Google that, follow that link, and it will take you straight to the YouTube page where you can just watch, and all of our interviews, in fact the entire show, is on YouTube. When the mayor joins us at 10 o'clock as well, you can choose to watch that on that platform too. Have you seen the starvation that's underway in Gaza? Have you seen how children have been affected? People are dying as a result of malnutrition. The United Nations has raised concerns. The World Health Organization also warned that malnutrition in Gaza is at alarming levels. In fact, the total number of malnutrition-related deaths since the new wave of the war began is now at 147. That includes 88 children. This is according to the health ministry there in Gaza. Israel, which controls the entry of all supplies in Gaza, has denied that there's starvation in Gaza and rejected accusations of being responsible for food shortages. And yet, when you look at Israel, it's the one that has imposed a total blockade on the territory. I think it was in March, earlier this year, in March. And that was partially lifted in May. And only a trickle of aid has been allowed to enter since then, despite warnings from the United Nations and aid organizations that there is mass starvation in Gaza.
The 2.1 million people trapped in the war zone that is Gaza are facing yet another killer on top of bombs and bullets: starvation. We're now witnessing a deadly surge in malnutrition-related deaths. The hunger crisis is being accelerated by the collapse of aid pipelines and restrictions on access.
That's what the United Nations says. But guess what Israel says about what's unfolding in Gaza? They don't believe there's starvation.
There is no starvation in Gaza, no policy of starvation in Gaza, and I assure you that we have a commitment to achieve our war goals. We'll continue to fight till we achieve the release of our hostages and the destruction of Hamas's military and governing capabilities. They shall be there no more. We shall not have any more of these massacres. We shall not have any more of these monstrosities. We stand for human freedom and human life, and that is not commensurate with Hamas or with Iran, other Iranian proxies. We have fought this battle together. We shall win it together.
That's what Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, says. So you've heard the United Nations confirms, the World Health Organization and other aid organizations have seen mass starvation in Gaza. Israel says there's no starvation there. I mean, it's beyond comprehension that Israel would claim that there's no starvation in Gaza when everybody can see for themselves. Even US President Donald Trump disagrees with Benjamin Netanyahu. Even he himself can see that Gaza is experiencing real starvation.
It's going to be working with the United States. We'll be helping with the food. You know, we have a lot of access to food. We got a lot of food ourselves, and we're going to bring it over there. We're also going to make sure that they don't have barriers stopping people. You know, you've seen the areas where they actually have food, and the people are screaming for the food, and they're 35, 40 yards away, and they won't let them because they have lines that are set up. And whether they're set up by Hamas or whoever, but they're very strict lines, so we have to get rid of those lines. But we're going to be getting some good, strong food. We can save a lot of people. I mean, some of those kids that's real starvation stuff. I see it. And you can't fake that. So we're going to be even more involved. We did some airlifts before, some airdrops, and the people are running for it. And the Prime Minister is going to help us. They're very effective with that. You've done that before, and for many, they've done that for 100 years very well. So it's not very hard to do, actually.
So even the United Nations sees that, and they want to do more to try and deal with the humanitarian crisis there. And of course, the UN always reminds us that Israel is the one that decides when and how much of the food enters Gaza. But as you've heard, Israel denies being responsible for famine. Now, following outrage and, of course, condemnation of Israel over the starvation in Gaza, Israel over the weekend decided to allow more aid into Gaza in the form of airdrops and military pauses to allow for food convoys to reach people. And even with that, the United Nations says what's been delivered so far over this weekend was just a drop in the ocean of what was required, because there have been months in which far little aid has reached Gaza. I mean, have you seen the visuals of malnourished children in Gaza? Have you seen the videos of children crying and desperate for food as helicopters were airdropping food to Palestinians? And then Israel tells you there is no starvation, when even the entire world can see that there is. I mean, Israel is losing support even among its allies. The Democrats in the US, listen to what they are saying. They seem to be turning their back against Israel. Israel is now losing Republicans. More and more Republicans are saying it's time to wrap it up. Israel is losing its standing with the rest of the world, and it still has confidence to do as it pleases. Where does it get the confidence to go against the world from? What's happening in Gaza is devastating, especially for those young children who have nothing to do with this war. So when you get a moment, just share a prayer for especially the children in Gaza. 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Clement, it's just so sad. It's just so disheartening, Clement, to be witnessing what you are seeing in Gaza. But it's not only in Gaza. These things are happening, throughout the world. Our leaders, they've lost the moral ground so much that, it's all about them, no longer about the people that they are leading, no longer about the poor children. Really, have you lost the moral grounds? Have we lost, the sense of Ubuntu, the sense of humanity? Where is it? What happened? Because this is a global phenomenon, Clement. It's not only in Gaza. You can bring it down here to South Africa. Our leaders are only thinking about their pockets. But let's stick now to the Gaza scenes and stories. This is really heartless from the leaders. Joseph Rosley.
Good morning, Clement Manyathela and 702 listeners. I think it's only Benjamin Netanyahu who would say there is no starvation in Gaza. Anybody who has eyes and ears can see and hear what is clearly happening on the ground. Now, when South Africa went to the International Criminal Court, some people thought, no, it was overreacting or whatever. But I think with the scenes that we are seeing on TV today, everybody in his right mind or her mind will be able to see that it can never be allowed in this day and age for children to die of hunger or for people to be killed while queuing for food. And we think it is right. The situation must carry on. It's very sad what is happening in Gaza. Thank you.
But there are people that are justifying it. Baruch on Twitter says, Clement, it's clear that Israel has something against America. That's why they are so bold and brave, and they can do as they please. On the YouTube page, there's someone here who says, Chinonya, who says, Clement, there's no starvation in Gaza. What you see there is a movie created by the Gaza Wood. See, my point? There are people that actually would justify or try to even tell you that what's happening in Gaza is not starvation. But I wonder if they pause and ask themselves, why does the rest of the world see what they don't see? What's blinding them? I mean, go and just Google starvation in Gaza. Look at those videos. Look at the desperation in the eyes of those children who are malnourished. Some of them get shot at while they're there looking for food. And we are told by the Israeli Defense Force that no, sometimes we just shoot, we fire warning shots. What I'm asking is if the rest of the world can see when Israel's biggest ally, the US, can see there is starvation, what gives Israel the confidence to keep thinking this is the opinion we're going to hold even when it differs with everybody else and we don't care? What gives them the confidence to stand that ground? There must be something, because I really don't understand. If they don't listen to their biggest ally, the US, then what is it? And what is it going to take for them to realize that there is, in fact, starvation? This is a humanitarian crisis. Over 140 people now dead due to starvation, according to the health ministry there. I mean, it's crazy. And you still have people who look at those visuals, who see the children who are dying there, who see the desperate children who are crying for food, and they say, well, that's not starvation. What is it then? And how can the US and everybody else see it but yourself? What does that say? It's 23 minutes now after 9.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
So just two quick things I want to tell you this morning, and then I'm going to go back to your calls and WhatsApps. We have a new feature that we're going to be starting next month. Yeah, next month of August. We're going to call it the Helpline. So this feature is all about helping you. There are cases that have come before us that we have resolved for our listeners. We are not going to be able to help with everything, but we have done what we could. The producers have worked behind the scenes to try and resolve some challenges that have been put before us by some of our listeners. So here's a call that I'm making to you. If you have something you've struggled with, a challenge you think we could be able to assist with the access that we have, I would like you to send us an email on cm@702.co.za, cm@702.co.za. Indicate that it's for the helpline. We don't promise to help with every case or every challenge presented to us, but we're going to try our best. And then we'll bring on air some of the people that we've asked, that have asked us for help, and explain how we've been able to assist them on how we're helping them. As I say, this is work that has already been happening behind the scenes, but we're going to start bringing it on air through this feature called The Helpline. So if you've got some assistance you think we can help with, and there's a reason you think we can assist with, send us an email on cm@702.co.za. I also want to remind you about the People's Dialogue that we're going to be hosting next month here at Prime Media House. We're going to be hosting the People's Dialogue next month ahead of the Presidential National Dialogue, and we are inviting you to take part. What are the issues you think are important to cover, and do you want to attend? If that's the case, I want you to send us an email on contact@702.co.za because space is limited. So we need to be able to know how many people are coming, how many people we're catering for, and also we can send you the details of when you can come. So contact@702.co.za is the email to send, and we'll send you all the details, the address, the time you have to be here. But we want to make sure that the audience is also as diverse as possible. So if you're a youth organization, maybe you're part of the civil society, maybe you're an activist, maybe you're a professional, wherever you are, please come and join us. Contact@702.co.za is the number is the email address to send your information to. It's 26 after 9.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Willie, you're calling from Pretoria. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. Very quickly. The problem of Israel, we all know the answer lies in the U.S. Until the U.S. and some European countries say enough is enough, the problem will never be solved. But the most unfortunate part is the APEC in the U.S. has captured almost all the politicians, from Trump to whoever. That is the problem. You can see even in Europe, the European Union is just conflicted. They will say this, the other day they will change. Until these two people, the U.S. and Europe, say to Israel, stop it, we are no longer going to support you, the problem will still go on and go on and go on. That's it.
Yeah.
And it is unfortunate. South Africa is being targeted because of its stance. Look, Israel, that is why Romela, the big boy, to fight with us. That is the fact. Thanks, brother. Willie in Pretoria.
Yeah, Willie in Pretoria, thank you so much for your thoughts. So Willie says it's not enough for Trump to acknowledge the starvation. He can stop it, but how can he stop it? How can he stop it? Because even Trump himself has been frustrated by Benjamin Netanyahu. Remember when we played you that clip of Donald Trump saying they don't know what the F they're doing, talking about Iran and Israel. So Trump himself has been frustrated by Israel, by Benjamin Netanyahu. And some people have suggested, I'm sure Benjamin must have some news on Trump, must have something on the US or Donald Trump that's compromising, because it doesn't make sense that president after president, some of them are frustrated by Benjamin Netanyahu, and for some reason he still gets what he wants. I mean, was there a reason for Trump to go and bomb Iran, their nuclear sites? We've already told you about the organizations and what they've said, including the United States state security around Iran and its nuclear capabilities. They said no evidence that they were building a nuclear bomb. So in the absence of that, what justification do you have to go bomb those Iran sites? Because Benjamin Netanyahu wants you to? So what does he have on the US or on Donald Trump? Because as much as he expresses frustration, like in this case, disagreeing even with him, because Benjamin says there's no starvation, Benjamin Netanyahu says there's no starvation, Donald Trump says it's clear that there is real starvation there in Gaza. So the question then is, why, even with that frustration, can the US not put its foot down and say, we are your biggest ally. We are sending billions and billions in aid so you can get weapons. We're helping you with your fight in Gaza. But if you're not going to listen to us at some point and take our advice, then it ends here. Why are they not doing that? Eunice, you're calling us from Killarney. Good morning.
Yeah, hi there, Clement. Clement, just yesterday, 2 human rights groups in Israel, that's B'Tselem and Physicians for Human Rights, that's Israeli, based in Israel, have come out with a report stating that what's happening in Gaza is a genocide. So, other than anyone else saying it, they're based in Israel. Now, what PR stunts that the Israelis are using there? For example, the other day they showed you a whole, hundreds of trucks lined up. Those trucks are at the Rafah border and they're not allowed in. But in reality, only 10 trucks were allowed in. And, airdrops also. There was only 1 truckload of airdrops that was actually fell through into the Gaza Strip. What they're not telling you is a lot of that food requires water to be cooked or oil to be cooked. And none of that exists there in Gaza at the moment. Whatever water is contaminated. So in my opinion, what we are witnessing in the Gaza at the moment, Clement, is the Auschwitz of our time. And it cannot be that in today's time, and we still have people condoning what Israel is doing there. It's actually a crime against humanity.
Yeah. Eunice and Killarney, thank you for your contribution. It's 9:30.
Over the years, you've heard me ask wealth manager Warren Ingram the big questions. How do we invest wisely? How do we protect our family's future? All those conversations, that entire library of financial expertise is now available as a podcast. Straightforward advice to help you build your wealth on demand. Just search for Warren Ingram's Personal Finance wherever you get your podcasts.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
24 minutes before 10 o'clock. So, remember we spoke about the Kenny Kunene matter last week on the 702 open line. And we spoke to the spokesperson for the Patriotic Alliance, who was explaining why Gayton McKenzie, as president, has decided to allow processes to unfold, an investigation into like Kenny Kunene for about a month. So he's going to step down from party activities. He's resigned as a councillor as well, so he's no longer MMC as well. And the whole issue is that he was found, remember, at the home of Katie Molefe, the man who was arrested, and he was arrested because he's linked to some charges and the murder of DJ Somebody. So when the police went to arrest Katie Molefe, you will remember that they found Kenny Kunene there. And then afterwards, after we spoke to the spokesperson of the Patriotic Alliance last week, we also spoke to the former Hawks head, General Godfrey Lebeya, because the KZN Provincial Commissioner Ntantlam Konazi claimed that there was a time when they went to arrest Molefe, and there is another group of law enforcement officers from the Hawks who tried to stop that arrest, and seemingly they were sent by Godfrey Lebeya. So we spoke to Godfrey Lebeya, who said, I didn't send people to go stop the arrest. And he said he was called by a police informant who told him that there are people who are identifying themselves as Hawks officers. Now, there has since been a development in that story. Africa News Global, which is the same news platform that Kenny Kunene says was going to publish an exclusive interview with Molefe. Remember when Kenny Kunene was found at the house of Molefe, he said, I was there to accompany a journalist who was going to interview Molefe, and the story was going to be exclusive on Africa News Global. Now, Africa News Global yesterday ran a story confirming that the person who actually called Godfrey Lebeya, who was then the Hawks head, is actually businessman Malcolm X. And Malcolm X confirmed to Africa News Global that he is indeed the person who called the Hawks head to say there are people here identifying themselves as Hawks officers. So we've got him on the line to chat to us about this. He joins us now on the line. Malcolm X, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning. Welcome to 702.
Pleasure is all mine.
Let's start from the beginning. So you have now confirmed that you are the person that called Godfrey Lebeya, who was the Hawks head, to inform him that there are people at Katiso Katie Molefe's house who want to arrest him, who are pretending to be Hawks officers. Can you explain what happened then? How did you find yourself at this house, and what did you say to Godfrey Lebeya at the time?
Thank you for having me. First of all, the story is exclusive of Africa News Global. It was broken by them after having interviewed me. And the journalist is Bianca Binase, BB. Now, on the day in question, that was 6 December 2024, I received a call from someone who said someone that I know very well, who is one of my clients in my consulting business, who said he's the brother to Molefe, Katie Molefe.
Mm-hmm.
Then he said, look, Malcolm, I'm not around, but please do me a big favor. My brother just called me and said he's either about to be arrested or kidnapped and possibly killed by people who are masquerading as police officers at his house. Then he sent me the address. He directed me to the house. I drove there quickly. It was during the day. I didn't even have time to call for backup or tell the police about it. So I went there alone. As I was about to park, then I saw there were about 35 to 40 people in the yard, and there were many vehicles outside the yard.
Mm-hmm.
Then at the entrance, they wouldn't allow me to enter the yard. They said they are police officers. Then I said, okay, from which division? They said, why is it my business? Then I explained them that their brother to the owner of the house asked me to come through. On arrival, several of them were talking to me. They were very rude, even refusing to show me their identification cards to prove they were policemen. Then I said, guys, this is very suspicious because there are people here wearing ballot levels, refusing to show me their identity cards. Some cars had no registration numbers. Then I said, if you are a policeman, my name is Malcolm X. If you are a policeman, please show me who I'm. Proof of that. So some said, hey, you can't be Malcolm. So I took out my ID and showed them that it's my real name, as in the name is Malcolm, surname is X. So I requested them to do the same. They wouldn't. Then eventually I said, can I speak to your commander? They said he's not available. At some stage, the commander came and said, yes, we are policemen. But some of them had already said, because I asked them from which division. Then I said, are you Hawks, Crime Intelligence, or SAPS? They said all that. And when they said all that, that's when I decided to call General Godfrey Lebeya from my cell phone. I called him. He picked up. Then I said, General, there are people here who say they are Hawks.
Yeah.
Some of them say they are Hawks, and they were sent by you to this operation.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him how I got to be there. Then he said, look, I have no knowledge of any Hawks members doing an operation in Sentin. Can I verify? He verified and called back and said, no. They are not Hawks because I just spoken to my people. Hawks members are not supposed to be there, but I will send teams to come verify them.
Mm-hmm.
Then at some stage, it didn't take long. So they arrived. Some apparently came from Pretoria or Camping Park, Sun Hill. But then I met Hawks members that I know personally from Job Exhibit. They arrived. Hi, Malcolm, how are you? We've been told to come here. We've been told that we are here as well. Then I said, I'm here. I'm the one that called General. Then they verified those people that they are. Then they came out and said, okay, it's confirmed. They are policemen.
Okay.
And but when I called the General, I actually put my phone on the speaker. They could hear I was talking to General Godfrey Lebeya. So it came as a surprise when General Ntlanhla Mkhwanazi during his interview when he said someone at the house called head of the Hawks to intervene and try to stop the police from doing their job, or to intervene and try to stop the police from arresting Molefe. That was not the case. I personally called General Mkhwanazi myself. I have proof on my phone.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a moment, Malcolm. I just wanted you to give us like what happened in the beginning. I think we get that. Now, here's a question. So you said the brother of Molefe is the one who called you and said, my brother is about to be arrested and we're concerned, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why did the brother call you? Why didn't he call the police?
I don't know why he didn't call the police. But as a super consultant that I am.
What do you consult in? Are you a lawyer?
No, a consultant with a registered company in consulting. I consult for everything, entertainment, construction, all that.
Okay, so with legalities like this, what gives you the authority to be, for instance, if someone consults me, it's probably going to be about the media, interviews. You know, nobody's going to call me, for instance, and say, oh my God, my brother is about to be arrested and these people are identified, because I don't have authority on that. I don't consult in that space. So I'm trying to understand, if you are not a lawyer, you are not an investigator, on what authority did the brother of Molefe call you and say, help?
The brother of Molefe called me because he's been my client for a long time in entertainment. Now they know that I'm very close to authorities as in politicians, businessmen and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
and he knew. Yeah, and he knew that at that level I could assist.
Okay, that might make sense. So they knew that you are close to authorities. So based on the Africa News Global website, they are saying that you said that it's the friend of Molefe who called you. In fact, let me quote it here. It says, Malcolm X told Africa Global that he received a call from a client of his who happened to be friends with Molefe. So you told Africa News Global this person was friends with Molefe. You're telling me now that this person was brothers to Molefe. Which is which?
Okay. Now, in the streets, a friend can be a brother can be a friend. I could be friends with someone, but the friendship could be at a level whereby we feel that we are brother, that we feel that it's no longer just a friendship, but a brotherhood. Now, I've got people who are not related to me biologically, but I call them my brother. How are you, my brother? We call each other brothers.
Okay, so in this case, can we be clear then? Is it a friend or is it a brother?
I don't know if they are friends or brothers, but they call each other brothers. So when he called me, say my brother, I do not question that because I've never met Molefe in my life. I don't have his cell number. I don't know if he's got my cell number. Even at the time he got arrested, I did not see him being taken out of the house, but his children confirmed that, yes, our father has just been arrested because we stayed there for about 10 to 11 hours.
Yeah.
At the gate, yeah.
Okay. Where do you get the contacts of the Hawks? When you say you are close to authorities, are you close to the then Hawks head, Godfrey Lebeya, as well? And here's why I'm asking that, right? If for instance, as Malcolm X, you're concerned about people who may be posing as police officers, do you have a relationship with Godfrey Lebeya that gives you the access to call him? Because you could have called the station commander or another police station. Can you help me understand that relationship with the former Hawks head?
At the time, I got a call from Katie Molefe's brother or friend, as you said it. The first person I called was the minister of the police. He didn't pick up. Then I called the head of the Hawks because I wanted to call the minister and say, hey, there are policemen here who say they are policemen. When I didn't pick up, I called Lebeya. In my life, I've met Lebeya once in his office in Pretoria. He's got my number. I've got his number. Now, all these people, politicians, they are human beings. They are accessible. And as a super consultant...
And he's not a politician, remember. He's not a politician. He's a law officer. He's a Hawks head.
Yes. Look, I've got access to his bosses. They have access to me. As a super consultant in my business, you must have access to everyone.
When you say his bosses, what do you mean?
I'm talking about the ministers.
Oh, the ministers. Okay.
Yeah. Now, in my level of business, I must have access to everyone. They have access to me. So if you and I are friends, and you happen to be appointed to be a minister, I'm not going to start running away from you because you are now in a higher position. The friendship continues.
So do you think then Lebeya gave you access to himself because you have access to his bosses?
No. I gave him access to me.
Okay.
I gave Lebeya access to me.
What was the condition? Are you able to tell us why you guys met in the office back in the day? Was it on a separate matter?
Yeah, it was on a separate matter. It was not on this. And to clarify you, if General Lebeya said he was called by a police informant, I don't remember him saying that because I'm not a police informant. And he wouldn't say that.
All right, hold on. He wouldn't say that. He did say it on this show. Listen to this.
Yeah.
So the source who called you, what interest does that person have in this matter? Is it only because they're friends of Molefe, or do they have any other interest in this matter?
I do not know their relationship. Firstly, I don't even know this Molefe. I never heard about him before. So it's not one of the famous names that when a person mentioned it, one would have picked it up. So I don't know what is his relationship with this individual. It is something that this person himself can indicate. I just took it that they are general friends. But to us, we just took this is an information from somebody who has been providing information in the past. It's not the first time that he's providing the information.
But then he's also friends with this man who was about to be arrested, and he has a relationship with the police because he's given them information before.
The informant, all the people in South Africa, those who want to fight crime from time to time, provide information. The fact that they might be closely related to criminals is something that we will not be knowing from the word go. So, yes, he provided the information to us, which in the past we had to work on it. And obviously I can't be revealing the nature of the information that he provided.
But this man has provided information before that was credible to the police.
Yes.
And this time around, his friend was about to be
that's
arrested.
So that's the part I wanted you to hear, Malcolm X. Godfrey Lebeya confirmed on the show last week that you have provided information to the Hawks as an informant, which has been credible before.
Okay, that is not true. In fact, please put it on record that I have never provided information to the Hawks or the police, as the general says. I'm actually appalled. I'm not an informant, as he says. If I were to show you my our communications, as in WhatsApp communications, since 2023, you'll see that there's nothing about providing information, credible information. I've never been his informant. I've never been registered as his informant.
So what were you guys talking about since 2023 on WhatsApp with the head of the Hawks?
We're talking about things that have nothing to do with being an informant, nothing to do with Katie Molefe. I did not know Molefe. So on the court, I'm not his informant. I've never been.
But since 2023, you were talking to the Hawks head. What were you guys talking about?
We're talking about things that are totally different from what's being reported here. And it was
like
not
what?
about
Is it something you can't tell us? Is it a secret?
It's not something that I can discuss on the media.
Why can't you discuss it?
Because it's a privileged information.
Okay. Does it have anything to do with the Godfrey Lebeya's work as Hawks head?
Yes, it does. But it has nothing to do with being closely related to criminals, as he alleges. I heard he said the source closely related to criminals. First of all, I've never met Molefe. When I went to his house, I had to be given directions.
Yeah. No, I get that part. I get that part. Yeah. Do you understand why some South Africans are listening to this and they're wondering, there's a businessman out there who's had a relationship with the head of the Hawks and he can't disclose what that relationship is? Because if you said to us, well, we were talking about information I was providing to them because I was an informant, okay, then that makes sense because you can't share that with us. But you had a relationship with the head of the Hawks as a businessman.
Yes.
In the context of what Mkhwanazi has said about people who are business people, who have relationships with people who are law enforcement, who are in the law enforcement agencies, do you understand why it's causing some confusion to some South Africans?
I understand that. But it has nothing to do with one being an informant. It has nothing to do with having reported something to him. I'm actually surprised that, because I wasn't aware of this.
Okay.
That he just
Did
let me listen.
you link Kenny Kunene to Molefe?
No. I don't know how Kenny Kunene and Molefe met, if they ever met.
Okay. What's your relationship with Kenny Kunene?
Kenny Kunene has been my friend since 2005 and a business partner as well. We co-owned the nightclub together we've been in the entertainment business for a long time. He's my business associate.
Okay, so Kenny Kunene didn't talk to you about Molefe that, hey, we want to run this story on Africa News Global. I need his address and I need his contact details.
No, he never spoke to me about it. In fact, I'm the one who volunteered, who called Kenny and said, hey, look, man, I saw an interview of General Godfrey saying he will not divulge the name of the person that called him. I was surprised why wouldn't the journalist say I was called by Malcolm X. Then I'm the one that said, look, I want the public to know that I'm the one that called because I've got nothing to hide.
Okay.
But I told the general before I called him, I said, General, I'm surprised that you did not mention my name. Then he said, look, because I didn't have your permission and I had to respect POPI Act. Yeah, then I said, I'm going to speak that I'm the one that called you. Then he said, I don't have a problem. I even said to him in my message to him, look, can I also use the picture that I took with you in your office as proof that we know each other and that...
Okay.
Yeah.
So you called General Mkhwanazi after his press briefing. Do you have a relationship with General Mkhwanazi? Because you seem to have a very close relationship with these top police officials because you said you've got links to their bosses.
They also have relationships with me.
Yeah. On what basis? On what basis?
I've never met General Mkhwanazi before. Besides to say we had an international festival in Durban in May.
Yeah.
We brought Rick Ross. I was a joint venture partner at that festival, and obviously we had to interact with authorities in Durban, the municipality, and in one of the pictures, General Mkhwanazi met my business partner.
Okay, so when you called him after his press briefing, what were you trying to clarify to him?
I was trying to say, General, you said someone that called General Libya tried to interfere with the work of the police. I'm that person, and I was not trying to interfere with the work of the police.
Then what did he say?
He did not pick up. Then 3 hours later, he called me. I also missed his call. The following day, I called him twice, but he did not pick up.
Okay.
Prior to that, I had sent him, after the festival, I had sent him a message to thank him.
Okay.
For a festival that went well, where our people were safe.
Okay.
So I've never had a telephone discussion with him besides missing each other's calls.
Okay, got it. Should you be asked to come and testify at this inquiry with any information you may have had, are you willing to do that?
If they don't invite me, I will go there and try to force myself in because it's important for me to be there.
Malcolm X, thank you so much for making time for us. I really appreciate you coming through. My goodness, my head is spinning because I've got so much to say. There's a lot that as a South African I'm concerned about based on what I've just heard. 2 minutes before 10 o'clock.
Over the years, you've heard me ask Wealth Manager Warren Ingram the big questions. How do we invest wisely? How do we protect our family's future? All those conversations, that entire library of financial expertise is now available as a podcast. Straightforward advice to help you build your wealth on demand. Just search for Warren Ingram's Personal Finance wherever you get your podcasts.
8 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to The second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. Okay, can we reflect on what just happened in the previous hour? So, Malcolm X has made a number of suggestions. First of all, he was basically telling us that Libya lied. Because remember, the Hawk's head came on the show and said there's an informant who called him. And I asked, why would an informant have a direct line to the Hawk's head and not like detectives? Because informants don't really necessarily deal with like commissioners, Hawk's heads. Normally they deal with like people who are on the ground, who do operational stuff. And the Hawk's head confirmed, and I asked that question twice, Abel. I said, so this man has provided credible information before. And he said, yes. Malcolm X says, what's his words? I'm appalled by what Godfrey Libya said, because I've never provided any information before to the Hawks. So who's not telling the truth here? Because he clearly says Godfrey Libya lied. In fact, can we call Godfrey Libya? Let's call Godfrey Libya just to get clarity here. We've just spoken to Malcolm X and he says what you told us is not true. Let's call Godfrey Libya and find out what's going on here. Malcolm X says it's not true. I've never been an informant to the police. I've never called them on anything or informed them about anything. Now, that's the first thing that I thought for me was key, because Godfrey Libya is such a respectable man. Why would he lie and say this is a man who's provided information before to the police? The second thing that's worrying me here is Malcolm X told this news agency that Molife's friend is the one who called him as a consultant and asked him to come and help Molife, who's about to be arrested. But to me this morning, he says, it's his brother. That's why I said, so it's his brother who called him? And he said, yes. And I said, but you told Africa News Global that it's his friend. And my friends, these details matter. These details do matter. Is it a brother or is it a friend? And why are you telling us different stories? The third thing that to me surprises me is Malcolm X says I know Godfrey Libya and other top people because I know their bosses. He says, people know that I have access to all these big people because I know their bosses, meaning I know the ministers. And then he says he's been talking on WhatsApp to Godfrey Libya since 2023. But he won't disclose what they were talking about, which is fine. But this is very suspicious. Okay, you've got a businessman who's in constant communication with the head of the Hawks, but he wasn't doing what they were talking about has nothing to do with information that's being provided to the Hawks. Based on what Mkonazi has said in that briefing, I'm questioning myself now. What happened? What were they talking about? He says he can't disclose that. But he says he's got access to Abu Godfrey Libya and all these people because he knows their ministers, their bosses. Which is a bit quite concerning for me. And this is in the context of what General Mkonazi has said. What do you think? Let's go to your WhatsApps to hear your reaction to this interview on 072-702-1702.
Hey, good morning, Clement. For me, I think now what Malcolm X is doing is trying to do damage control for Libya. I'm not tempted to believe whatever he is saying, but if maybe this commission comes into existence, the relationship between Malcolm X and Libya must also be investigated, and that's how I feel. Thanks, Mwisenia.
Good morning, Clement. If it looks and smells like a rat, it's a rat. There's no need for us to call it something with small ears. I mean, Malcolm X was assassinated in 1965. I don't know which Malcolm X is this one. This guy is coming up with stories, and I don't see anything wrong from what the general actually said during his press conference, because he said someone from the house where they were trying to arrest this guy called the general, which is exactly what happened. This is the guy who called the general Libya. So I don't see any need why he should be out there gaining popularity because he's saying the general is wrong. Everything that the general said is right. Someone did call the Hawks general.
Morning, Clement. Morning, Clement. It's Jabulani here from Ramsek. Clearly, this guy is very scared. You see, if you are going to put him in big trouble, because if he discloses that he is an informant, then it's going to be to put his life in danger. That's what I think. He won't admit there on your show, but I think he's very scared.
Clement, based on the interview that you just had now, the details are still sketchy and there's more questions, but one thing is certain. General Mkhwanazi was definitely not lying when he said politicians and cops, top cops, are working with dodgy businessmen. Gregory here in Flagstop.
Hey, good morning, Clement, and how are you? I listened to your interview with this gentleman. What I can say is that this gentleman is contradicting himself, and he knows very well that he is into this and he's guilty. The way he responds to your questions, it shows that there's something fishy here. And even said that he will force himself to go and testify why he has to force himself, because he needs to be invited. Really, there's something wrong with this gentleman. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Zintle, keep talking. So, you'll realize that I'm telling you what's happening because the producer is also telling me what happened because I told them to call Godfrey Libya. Because something is not adding up here. Either the former Hawks head lied to us on this show last week, or Malcolm X is lying to us. And I'm more worried if it is the former Hawks head who lied to South Africans. I'm more worried about that than Malcolm X lying. So we've just called Godfrey Libya now. He says he won't come on air. He says he doesn't want to come on air, but he says that it would be irresponsible to say whether or not Malcolm X is an informant. But he's already done that. He told us last week that the person who called us is an informant who's provided credible information before. Malcolm X has come out to say, I am that informant. But the difference is I've never provided any information before. So why did the Hawks head claim that this man has provided information before? And Malcolm X says, we've got a relationship. We've been talking on WhatsApp since 2023. We've asked Godfrey Libya that. He says he's not denying that they've been in contact. He says the photo that they have together is from 2023 in Libya's office, but the former Hawks head says he will check his phone to confirm when they started communicating. What were they communicating about? It wouldn't have mattered until what Mkhwanazi has said. I would like to know, was it information around the Hawks? I mean, if it's privileged information, sure. But based on Mkhwanazi has said, you do understand why we are curious about what the Hawks head was talking to the businessman about, the businessman whom his client was about to be arrested. This country.
Over the years, you've heard me ask wealth manager Warren Ingram the big questions. How do we invest wisely? How do we protect our family's future? All those conversations, that entire library of financial expertise is now available as a podcast. Straightforward advice to help you build your wealth on demand. Just search for Warren Ingram's Personal Finance wherever you get your podcasts.